Hello, welcome again. Today we will see control statements in Java. For detailed understanding, I have categorized this session into two broad categories that we will see one by one. Basically, the control statements are the statements that are responsible for changing the flow of our program. Sometimes it is not necessary that from one source to destination we will have a straight road or a straight path. Sometimes we have to take U-turn and go around and come back, and according to different situations, like either we are traveling by a car, or we need to drive a bike, or we are going by a work. So according to situation we have to take the decisions, or we have to perform the actions. So the further line of action changes according to the result of situation. So such kind of statements are known as a control statement, that are broadly categorized into three types: decision making, looping, and jumping statements. We will see the first category, that is decision making, also known as a selection or branching statement. These are generally used to check the condition. We will start with the first example of decision making statement, that is if statement. If statement is used to check a single condition, and it will show only true side of the condition. Now, how we can write this if statement? The syntax is: if in bracket we have to write the condition, and here it goes the true statement. It means when the result of this condition is true, the statement that you want to execute will be written in the if block, and further program will start from over here. The flowchart is represented over here on the right hand side. The condition is checked. If the result of condition is true, the statement 1 will execute. Otherwise, it will jump out of the if, and it will start executing statement n. We will see one program. Now, I want to check the largest of two number. So, we can write a code in Java. I am simply copying the code just to save the time. We will write the code. Suppose this program is having package, io package, class test1, main function. I have taken two variable, and I have initialized variable value. I want to check the largest of two number. So of course I want to check the condition. So if I am going with the if statement, I am writing condition if a is greater than b. So if the result of this condition is true, means actually the value of A is greater than B, then what we want to display, that we will be writing after if immediately. So I will be displaying A is greater. Closing of if, closing of main, and closing of class. So I am saving this file in the bin with the name test1.java. We have to compile the code b- by giving command on the command prompt by javac test1.java. And there are exceptions, because this has happened when we have copy and pasted the code, the double quotes get changed. We will be changing that over here, and we will compile that again. Now there are no error. We will run the code by writing interpreter name java, file name test1. Now we have not shown any output. Why this has happened? Because in the code we have written the true block only, but now we have not displayed any statement. Now the value of a is actually 10 and b is 20. So 10 is greater than 20? No. So the program has not executed the statement after if, and it has come out of the program because there are no further statements. Okay. Suppose if I am displaying over here that thank you or bye message, that will be displayed because program is not going to the if block. So let's see directly by output. Okay, so simple if is used only when you want to show the true side only. We can go with the simple if. Next one, if else statement. if else. This is used to check the condition and go or write the further code for both the possible outcome. That is, for any condition we have two sides, that is true and false. So that code is written by using if else statement. Syntax is if condition true block, else false block, and our further program. So when condition is checked and if the result of condition is true, the statement in the if block, that the true statement block, will run and it will come out of the statement n. No else block will execute. If the result of condition is false, then no true block will execute. It will immediately jump into the else block. The false block will execute and it will come out of the if else and it will start executing statement from statement n. We will go with the same program. Now my problem definition is read two number, or we have to find the largest of these two number. In earlier program we had just shown whether a is greater or not. Now I want to display which number is greater, so I have to check for both a and b. So what we have to do, we have written a if test condition true statement. Now we have to show the else block as well, where we can write the b is largest. So system.out.println b is greater, and after if else we have our further program, that is by. Now execute this code by compiling and running the code. It has shown b is greater and it has jumped out of the code, that is by. Now A is 10, B is 20. So 10 is greater than 20? No. So true block is not executed. It has jumped into the false block and B is greater line is executed. And the line after by is executed. Okay. Now suppose if I do make change in the program like this, I am changing the value of a, I am saving the content and compile the code again and run the program. Now it had shown a is greater. So when the result of condition is true, the true block gets executed, false block will not run, and the statement after if else will get executed. So this is simple if else statement. Moving further, now there are variations of if else. We can write the if else, multiple if else in the same code. Now, depending on how we write that multiple if else. So, first type of that is nested if else. Nested if else is used when we want to check multiple conditions. Okay, in a simple language, just remember, when we want to write a code using nested if, it means one if else in another if. Okay, the syntax will make it clear. One if else, here you can see this if else is written in one if block. So this example is of nested if else. If condition 1, if any statement, or directly if condition 2 and further statement. So in nested if, what happens, if there is a result of previous condition is true, then only the next condition will be checked. This type of nesting of one if in another if, this is nested if. Okay, so we will see one example, that is largest of three number. When we have largest of three number, it makes very simpler logic, that if we have three number a, b and c, so when I will say a is largest, obviously when a is greater than b as well as a is greater than c. When I will say b is greater, when b is greater than a and b is greater than c, then we will say that b is greater. So it means our two conditions are there, but the next condition is checked only if the result of previous condition is true. We will see the example, that is largest of three number. Let's see over here. A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20 and C is equal to 70. If A is greater than B, now suppose I want to go for whether A is largest or not. Then I am writing the code for it. Then I have to check whether A is greater than B as well as A is greater than C. So if A is greater than B, then only I will go for checking whether A is also greater than C. Then only we can say that largest number is A. So this is example of nested if. One if else is written in another if else. So here is the code of one if else. I am making it readable for you. So here you can see this one if else. A simple if else is written in one if and its else is continue later on further program. Okay. Now if A is greater than B, okay, but if A is not greater than C, it means largest is C. If A is not greater than B, then I will not go for checking whether A is greater than C. It means B is greater. Then simply I will check in else block whether B is greater than C. Then I will print B is greater. Otherwise, B is greater than, sorry, otherwise C is greater. Okay. Let's save this code and compile the code. File name is Java test1. There is a symbol when we have saved file. There are mismatching of curly braces that we have to check. Main complete, class complete. Okay. Again, there are, as I have copy pasted the code, there might be some operator which is not working over here. We will check it out. Okay, I have changed these codes. Okay, let me check. There is nested if else for checking the largest of three number and we have to match the curly braces. We will see the execution of this code, compile the code, execute the code by giving interpret command. Largest number is 70, so C has been larger. Suppose if I change the value that I want to make B as the largest number, we will again compile the code, run the code. Now largest is B. Suppose we will make A largest, so that we will come to know that all the blocks are getting reachable by the code and the possible output for A, B, and C is getting executed. So this is how we can use the largest of three number using nested if else. Another variation of writing many if else is else if ladder. Now here it else if means writing if else in else block of previous if. This is used to check multiple conditions. Again, only the change is that it is written opposite to nested if. It means one if else is written in the else block. Now syntax is if condition 1, if the result of this condition is true, the statement 1 will get execute. If the result of this condition is false, then in the else block we can check the further condition. Again, if the result of this condition is false, then the next condition will be checked. And here we can see this is the else if ladder. Same is shown in the flowchart. Now we will see the example. Now suppose I am reading one number from user and I want to display whether it is 10, 15 or 20, or it is not fitting into the 10, 50 or 20 by using else if ladder. How we can write this? Import java.io.star test1 main function I variable. Whenever we want to read input from user, we have to create object of data input stream class. There are another classes too. In bracket mention system dot in that you want to read input from keyboard. Give a message to user that enter a number. In I variable I am taking that number. Whatever we want to read will be read using read line method of data input stream class. That's why d object is written over here. The line itself means that it is a text, so we are converting that by using wrapper class integer dot and its method parse int. So now we have number in I want to check whether the value of I is 10, 15 or 20. So I can go with the else if ladder. First I will check whether I is equal to 10. If it is 10, then I will uh, print that number is 10. Print that number is 10. Now if the result of this condition is false, then I want to check for next condition. So if the result of this condition is false, then I want to check the next condition. That block we have to write in the else. So else immediate next condition, if whether I is equal to 15, then we will display a message that I is 15. Now, suppose if I is not matching in this condition. So again, in the next else block, we are writing the further condition whether I is equal to 20, and that value will be printed that I is 20. And if I is not fitting in any of the condition, means if the value of I is not 10, 15 or 20, then finally the else block will execute and the message will be displayed that I is not present. Now we will save this code and we will compile the code to see the output. Now here is the change data input stream class. Compile the code. Whenever we use the read line function in the code, there may be possible that user may give wrong input and exception may occur and program may terminate abnormally. So we have to write throws exception in front of main, because Java supports exception handling mechanism because it is a robust language. Now program is compiled. We can run the program. Enter a number. Suppose I am entering 10. It will display I is 10. If I execute the program again and if I am giving value that it is 30, then I is not present because we have not written the test condition for this. This is the example of else if ladder. Moving on, we will see the next decision making statement, that is switch case statement. We can use nested if else or else if ladder for checking multiple conditions, but they may create a complex code. As we have seen, if the curly braces doesn't match, it gets very confusing. Where is the error? So instead of that, we can go with the multi-way decision statement, that is switch case. It makes very simple to check multiple conditions using switch case. Syntax is, here is the condition or the value of variable that we want to check for multiple options, and that multiple options are written in case in different multiple cases. If that value matches with the case value, then the case block will execute, and if the value of expression doesn't match with any of the case value, then the default statement will run and the further code will be executed. We will see why this break and default keywords are used in switch case. Why there is a break keyword after every case. Now suppose if one case is matched with the value of the expression, then only that case should get execute and the program control should jump out of the switch and will should start from statement n. No further case comparison, checking, evaluation has to be done. That's why break is written after every case block. Now by default, suppose if the value of expression is not matching with any of the case value, then where the control should get transfer, so that transfer is done to the default statement and this block will get execute if any of the case doesn't match. Now we will see one code, that same code of whether I is 10, 20, or 30 that we had written using else if ladder. Now same code we can write with the switch case, which will make it very easy. Now class test1 public static void main I variable object of data input stream class, because we want to read input from user. D dot readline conversion to integer dot parseInt. Now here is the switch case. Switch which variable value we want to check I. Now case 10, because we want to check for only 10, 20, and 30. So if the value of I matches with the value of case, that is 10, then it will display 10 and it will jump or come out of the switch block. Now if it matches with the case 20, it will display 20 and it will come out of the switch block. Same with the 30. Now suppose if user enters a value which is not fitting into 10, 20, or 30, the statement from the default block will get execute that it is present not present, or any message that you want to display. Closing bracket of switch, closing bracket of main, closing bracket of class. We have saved the code. Now we will execute the code by compiling the code. Now we have to make sure that syntax is correct and the codes are correct. Whenever there is read line, we have to write throws exception in front of main, where we are reading the input from user. Execute the code, enter a number. Suppose I am entering 20. So what will happen when I have entered 20? It will switch to I, that is switch to 20. It will jump into the switch. Whether 20 is matching with the 10? No, so this block will not execute. Next case, whether 20 is matching to 20? Yes, then it will display 20 and it will execute the line break and it will come out of the switch block. 20 is displayed. Now suppose if I run the code again and if I entered a number 60, it is not matching with any of the case, it is directly going to default, that is not present. This is how the switch case works. Next, this was about the decision making or selection or branching statement in the Java. The second category of control statement we will see in the next session. Thank you. Bye.